Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to talk about Litecoin. We have a potential ETF that could be approved today. We have some other very interesting things going on the chart here. The price is holding up very well, even with Bitcoin pulling back a little bit. Litecoin staying up here. Now we have some news coming for today. We could get potentially an ETF. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about some other interesting things, just like the LTC Bitcoin pair. Sorry, I'm a little bit sniffly today. The tree pollen count is about 9,000, so I'm struggling with that. So let's begin. What are we talking about? So the very first thing, I do have some trades open. And I only have two trades open right now. I have an XTZ trade and an LTC trade. So yeah, that's what we got going on. I'm going to leave my leverage trade open. I am nice in the profit, and we're going to leave that one open for a bit. But I asked Greg, I said, hey, what's going on? What kind of ETF decisions do we have upcoming? And I think there's even more than this. So the main ones that are coming soon is, we just had the Canary one that was delayed. So it was delayed on May 5th. Opened a 21-day public comment period ending May 26th. So we may just get a delay today on this one. So it says a ruling is expected, though it may align with this. Now, we'll see what happens. If we do get a delay, what will happen is we will most likely see a little bit of a pullback in the chart. This was what, the 5th? Where was the 5th? Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was about right here. We saw a pullback, and then we saw actually it just kind of came right back up. So it was usually a good opportunity to buy. So if we do get a pullback, I will just be grabbing more. I'll be either adding to my leverage position or buying spot or both. So that's what we got going on. It depends on how big of the pullback we get. Especially if we go down a decent amount, I will grab some more for sure. So if you do want to trade, if you want to open up any leverage trades, I do have a link below to Bitunix, BYDFi, and BTCC. I use all of those, so feel free to use that. You get a nice discount permanently on fees, and there's a bunch of new time bonuses, stuff like that. If you put in X money, you get X money back. So there's some cool promotions there, and we'll see what's going on here. So the SEC has a history of delaying decisions. Approval odds, though, for Litecoin ETF by the end of 2025 are estimated at 90% by some analysts. And I can't talk today. Specific dates for other LTC ETF proposed Van Eck are not detailed in the sources, but May is a common delay target for multiple filings. So we have had some delayed till May, and maybe we'll get something. I don't know. This was probably the highest chance to get an ETF. It's one of the oldest coins. It is not a security. And the interesting thing about Litecoin and why I'm so bullish on Litecoin is it's very similar to Bitcoin, right? It has some of the same security features. It actually has some anonymity as well. So it's kind of like XMR, where you can turn on a certain send mode and basically it is more private, which is interesting. It's got 84 million max coins, and it's been around a long time with absolutely no downtime to the blockchain. So it's yeah, I'm super bullish on it. If we see an ETF today, I think we'll see something massive. Now, if you'll see something else interesting, come look at this. So XRP. If you go to XRP Bitcoin, we go on the daily chart, you can see what happened here. So if I draw, let me put the, so basically what we had happen with XRP is we got this double bottom here, which is usually a really good sign that we could see some potential massive pumps. A lot of people get in when they see this double bottom. So you can see the volume was massive on this double bottom. Boom, big volume, and we blasted off to infinity over the next couple days. All right, so this was, basically ended up being a 402% pump. I did buy a lot of XRP at 50 cents, and I did sell a lot of XRP at like $3.30, and I actually rolled it over into Bitcoin. I like doing that. Litecoin, you'll see something very similar. Okay, now one thing I don't see here is a crazy amount of volume. And maybe we call this not even quite double bottom. So what we could potentially see is we could see a big sell-off for another delay. If it taps here and picks up any volume, we could see something very similar. Or if we get an ETF, we could just call this double bottomed and it could just pick up massive volume and just rip from here. So if we saw something similar, let me go back to the XRP chart and see if we do get any sort of a similar move like we did here. So what was this full move here? This full move was 582%. So that was a massive move. And we actually had XRP break out here. It put a nice inverse head and shoulders pattern, and now we're breaking to the upside. So if we saw something very similar, what did I just say that was? I literally already forgot. What was that? 589. Okay. So if we saw something similar for this coin, what would we see here? So let's go from the same thing. We'll go from the bottom. 589. Oh, I don't even have enough chart here. All right, so let's go a little bit more. We can go from this bottom right here. 5. Oh my God, I still don't have enough. So it's like almost back to the all-time high, which is quite interesting here. So if we go from let's go from the bottom of this second move. 589 is $440. Now that's kind of interesting because if we go look at this on this chart here, you can see where would that put us? That would put us way up here, right? So I am expecting to see something similar, and that's why I really like LTC Litecoin right now as a bet, because as you can see, we have this big range here, and again, we could easily come up into here. That's only 300%, right? So if we go from the bottom of that channel, boom, that's a new all-time high, guys. That's a new all-time high, 440. So that would be pretty insane if we saw something like that. And that's why I'm betting more on Litecoin than XRP right now, because XRP has already done this big move, hit this channel, come back down, retested the middle, and what are we going to see? I mean, I see people calling all day long for XRP to hit, $27, for it to hit $100, $1,000, $10,000, and the risk of doing that is, or the chances of doing that is really low, and the risk is high, right? Because you can see the short-term bubble risk indicator I have here has already been deep in the red, and if you go look at prior cycles, you can see we went deep in the red here. So this one was about a 452 on this bubble indicator. If you go here, we went to 200 or so. So if we just come back up and hit this again, I don't know why that's a different number. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So this one was a ridiculous bubble risk, right? It just blasted off. And then we came down here for like literally infinity. But if you look at Litecoin, it's just not quite like that. Let me get a different Litecoin chart up because this one is perpetuals and there's not as much history. So if we go to LTC, USD, Coinbase, it's been on Coinbase quite some time. So if we go here and look at the same one, you can see that, yeah, we got something like this. You can draw this line a lot of different ways. Let me just redraw a channel here real quick. So if we go channel, we'll go from here. This is a really big resistance line, support line, actually, not resistance. So there we go, looking like something like that. And you can see, boom, I mean, we could come back up here really easily. So we'll go for this, we'll go for the weekly close. Where's the weekly close? Yeah, so we'll just go for the weekly close of this one right here. So bottom to top, there you go. That's what we're looking at, guys. So, the odds of Litecoin hitting the top of this channel is pretty good because we've basically done it in every other cycle, right? So here's 2017. Here's 2021. So basically every 4 years, we've hit the top of this channel. So I think personally, Litecoin is going to hit at least this. And if we get ETF approval, people buying this scarce asset, very similar to Bitcoin, we'll see the same thing, right? Because Bitcoin, when you saw the ETF approval, we saw a lot of buying and there's scarcity in Bitcoin as well. So if we go over to into the Cryptoverse, this is a premium subscription as well. You will see if we go down here to Litecoin, click Litecoin, we got key risks here, fiat risk. So this is the risk against the US dollar. We usually always get into, I don't know, let's see what we did before. So this is Litecoin. In 2021, the risk actually went to 1, okay? And then if you look back here in 2017, the risk also went to 1. So if we go to 1 risk, that's $990. So if we tap that metric again, that's there. But I mean, even if we only go to like, I'll use this one here. So 1, the one risk, basically what we've tapped 1, 2, 3 times, is $990. Okay, so if it's 90%, so if you don't want to, risk not getting an exit, if you are trading it, or if you're just trying to accumulate a bunch, you don't really care too much about this. But I think most are trying to exit at least some of their position in this cycle. So 90%, here we go, $630, even 80. An 80% risk is $403. So we can see some really big numbers. And as you can see, this risk metric on Into the Cryptoverse has hit 1 every single time. So, I mean, it looks like we're quite probable to hit somewhere in the $900 range. That would be freaking insane, especially for my trade here, because if I go over here and look at basically my stop loss is at 47. I don't think we're getting anywhere near that. I would lose 45 grand if we hit 47. But if I put in $900 here, let's just put on 899. That's $809,000 with leverage. So I have quite a big position with Litecoin, and that's like freaking 6 times my yearly salary. So that's quite insane. And that's kind of what I'm betting on here. If we get some ETF approvals, I think we'll get it almost no matter what by the end of the year. And I think that's going to rocket us to the very top of this range. I have a bunch of Litecoin on spot as well. A couple hundred actually. So I am very bullish on Litecoin, and this is going to be freaking insane. I mean, look at this guys. So that's gonna be pretty much it for the video. Not much else to talk about, but if you do want to leverage trade and you want to open a long on Litecoin, I got a link below. Bitunix is an amazing exchange, so feel free to use them. They have really good fees. Really low fees, I should say. And yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for the video. That's what I'm banking on, coming back up here at least. Now again, that target of 900, guys, was way up here, right? So if we get anywhere near that, yeah, even from right here, it's 770% times leverage, whatever leverage you're using. Pretty insane, guys. Pretty insane. That's what I'm kind of banking on. I mean, I'm not banking on it going to 900, but I mean, I think what I'll do is I'll put my take profit up at 900. And what I think I'll do is I will take like 25% of my position up at like $400. So I'll put in just a small take profit at $400 because that's the top of this range. So we'll at least see some resistance here. We'll come up, we'll probably tap this, but I mean, you can see the all-time high is right about here, right? We kind of double tapped it and then came back down. So I think we're at least going to $410, right? I think we're at least going there, worst case scenario. And as I said, my stop loss was down here at $47, which is like kind of below this range here. So I have my stop loss right about here. So let's go here. We're gonna say $47. Hit OK. So that's my stop loss. I like to use purple for stop loss. So there's my stop loss. I think we're not hitting that. That's way below the bottom of this channel again. And you can see we've been stopping at this channel here multiple times. This has been very big support for Litecoin. So I'm super bullish. We're gonna rip for sure. Yeah. Hopefully I make a lot of money. So it'll be pretty sweet. And I'll hold a lot of my spot Litecoin forever. I will put it on my cold storage. I have a bunch on my cold storage already. I will hold at least 100, 200. Really, the only thing I'm holding is Litecoin and Bitcoin. That's like the only thing. I won't be selling all of my positions at this year. The rest of my altcoins, those are all getting sold this year because I think we're going to go into a bear market like we always do next year. So if we go to the Bitcoin chart, here you go. We almost always go into a bear market. I'm expecting it to start about October, November of the end of this year. And then we'll usually see about 1 year of downside for Bitcoin, and altcoins will get hit even harder. As you can see, Bitcoin went down 75%. If we see it, like if we pretended the high was in already, 75% would be down to about 26 grand. I think we're going much higher this cycle. I think we'll come up to at least 150. So if we go from like 150 down 75%, that means we're going back to 36,000. If we hit 200K up here, 75%, we're going down to about 48K. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe we don't go down that much anymore because now we have so many institutional investors. We have so many Bitcoin strategic reserves and all that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment below. Again, use my links if you want to leverage trade. That is the best way to support the channel here, as well as interacting with that like and subscribe and comment button. Appreciate the support. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.